Hotel and welcome. Comedic legacy today. Comedic legacy today. Life, health, and strength to you all. Comedic legacy today. Hotel. Comedic legacy today.
Hetepu. Welcome to Comedic Legacy Today, your weekly journal of ancient African, ancient Kemetic history and spirituality. My name is Jabari Osaze, also known as Heru Jedin Ma'at Atenra.
And my name is Anika Daniels Osaze, also known as Nfurka Ma'at.
This episode, we have an interesting, exciting artist that we're going to feature. We have brother Shakka Ahmose.
Shakka Ahmose, yes.
Here with us. And I'm so excited to be able to have him on the show, particularly because I have been seeing the incredible work that he's been doing through Facebook. It's amazing how Facebook has brought people together all around the country.
Yes.
And his work, I'm sure you're getting hits from people all over the world.
All over the world,
All
yes.
over the world, all over the world. And
Yes.
so if you're not familiar with him, you're in for a treat. But definitely, after you finish watching Comedic Legacy today, make sure you're on your computer taking a look at some of the work that he's doing, because it's wonderful.
Absolutely. And Dua, thank you.
Oh,
very
yes,
much.
yes. And so it's really great to be able to have you on the show and be able to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Because not only will we have a performance by Brother Shakka Ahmose, we'll also be able to interview him a little bit so we get to know more about the artists behind the wizardry. So I'm excited. I know you are at home as well.
And we also have him accompanied by Brother Josh Sticks on acoustic guitar. So welcome to you as well.
So why don't you talk to us a little bit about what you're going to perform for us?
Tonight, we're going to perform a song entitled Egypt Was a Black Land, the song. And the title basically explains itself, as does the lyrical body of the work itself. Basically, it was a song that I wrote in response to the fact that those of us who know the truth about ancient Kemet, the black truth about ancient Kemet, ancient Tamari, ancient Egypt, many of us do not have the resources that the popular media has, such as the History Channel, Zahi Hawass, and people of that nature who spread false information about the ancient black past of ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, ancient Tamari. And so I felt that this medium, the medium of music and video, is something that we respond to and can use to proliferate our message all over the place.
That's right.
I felt that this would be an effective tool, and so it was pretty much my gift to our community to say, hey, look, you can play it for your children, you can play it for your teachers, you can play it, but eventually people will get the message.
Right.
A newscast can do one thing, but a song has a certain kind of power that none of that stuff has.
That's right.
It lives on far beyond the creator.
That's right.
Building for eternity. That's what we do.
That's right. That's right. I'm excited that you said that, because one of my pet peeves, I know that if you took everyone that had an Africana class, an African history class, we could even lump in Egyptology,
Right.
history, any of those fields from undergraduate through doctoral degrees in the last 30 years. You would have fewer people if you sat them all in one room than are witnessing to some of these misrepresentations like Transformers. Like, I mean, there are more people that saw Transformers the 2 summers that came out than
Popular culture, popular
have
media.
ever been in any of those classrooms. And so getting the people through a popular medium is a powerful, powerful mechanism.
In my opinion, it's the most powerful
Right,
mechanism.
that's right. That's
and
right.
they know that. That's why they use it against us.
That's
and
right.
I got tired of us not fighting back effectively, so I decided to do what I do.
Wow. So you're a warrior artist. essentially.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what Dr. Clark said. Dr. Clark said, he said, whatever it is that you do, use it for the liberation of your people.
Wow.
And I was going to stop doing music because I felt the music industry didn't represent what we should be doing. But I
Right.
said, wait a minute. I remember Dr. Clark's words. words. So, the talent's there, the will is there, the desire is there, so just do it. And I'm doing it.
And
That's
how
why
long
we're
have you
here.
been doing this?
I've been doing this for actually a very short time, but I have tried to be responsible about it vocally, taking lessons and running and exercising, being really disciplined about it and trying to be professional with it, because I think as black people, our standards need to be known to the rest of the world. We don't do anything halfway, so I've been trying to do it full way for some time now, maybe about a year or so, maybe possibly.
Okay, good.
So
Wow.
hopefully I deliver.
Yes, you will.
I will deliver.
Wonderful. Oh yeah. We've seen what you've put out, and it's very professional. And hopefully he'll be able to get bumped on MTV or someplace like that eventually. But even if he isn't, it's going to reverberate through our community
Definitely.
That's
and
the plan.
speak to those that need to hear this important message.
Especially the youth. They
That's
really
right.
need to
That's
hear this
right.
type of message.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
Because we're losing them fast every day in numbers that most people don't want to talk about.
Right.
And I even like the name Ma'at Hotep Records. I mean, it says it all in itself. We're trying to maintain Ma'at and keep that balance so that our youth know what's going on.
That's right. That's right.
I gave it that name so that they would ask questions.
Good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Everything I do so people ask questions.
So there's a dialogue. That's
Absolutely.
Right. That's right.
Get it started.
Wonderful. Wow.
Get it started.
So we're not going to spend too much more time talking right now because we want you to be able to enjoy a performance by this incredible artist. And so without further ado, Brother Shakka Ahmose, accompanied by Brother Jostics. Hetep.
Dua.
Twalu.
All the lies you've been told, baby, let me set you straight. What we did back then was great, you just don't know. Let me show you the past so your future can look bright. Help you walk into the light, help you see yourself. I've heard them say that we wasn't even there. Baby, let me make it clear, we were the ones. If you pay attention to what I'm about to show, there's no doubt that you will know we were the ones. And I'ma show you who Nefertari was. Said she was black because that's the way that Ryan made her and show you Egypt was a black land, King Tut was a black man. Cause that's the way that right down and now, whence we came from the southern land so hot. No, they think that we forgot. Remember the time from the Horn and the West. These black people made their way. See them coming forth by day. And here we are, as above, so below. This is how they built in stone. We have never been alone. This is the truth. If you can't see yourself, then it's true you've been misled. Got them lies all in your head. Let me help you out, and I'ma show you who Nefertari was. Said she was black because that's the way that Ryan made her and show you Egypt was a black land, King Tut was a black man. Cause that's the way that Ryan made him and show you our history. It ain't no mystery. Just listen and you'll understand and show you what they cannot hide, what they can't deny. That Egypt was a black land. Lately I've been thinking of days gone by and all the things that we've forgotten. Voices from the distant past make themselves heard. Resurrection, something now the truth's been revealed. Tell me what you gonna do. Gonna keep it to yourself or gonna tell the world? If you do, then prepare for the challenges you face. My heart goes out to you, precious black boys and girls. And I'ma show you who Nefertari was. Said she was black because that's the way that Ryan made him and show you Egypt was a black land, King Tut was a black man. Cause that's the way that Ryan made him and show you our history. It ain't no mystery. Just listen and you'll understand and show you what they cannot hide, what they can't deny. That Egypt was a black land and show you. Yeah, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you. Yeah, I'm gonna show you. Egypt was a black land. Yeah, Eta Mary. Egypt was a black land. King Tut was a black man. All right. How'd I do?
That was a fabulous presentation, Brother
Beautiful,
Shaka.
beautiful.
Thank you,
Blessings.
Dua. Thank you
Blessings,
both.
blessings.
I'm
Thank
so
you both.
exciting. It's so exciting to have you on the show, and to, after all this time talking to you through Facebook, watching your videos, and to actually have you here on live is just, it's perfect.
Yes.
But I guess we have several questions for you. I know we would consider you a Kamite, but you specifically call yourself Wusarian. Can you tell us what that is?
Wosir
Wusir.
was a common nomenclature for Osiris, or who otherwise would be known as Asaru, who would otherwise be known as Asaru, which is his actual appropriate name. Wosir is, I think, a titulary title applied to the deity, and it's more that title is more common in West Africa when they reference him. Among the Wolof people, among the Serer people, they would reference Osiris as Wosir. And in the text, he's often referenced as Wosir. Un Nofer, Un Wosir. And so it's just the title that I subscribe to.
Okay. Now, you've been in this legacy for a very long time. I know your mother had a great influence on you.
Yes.
Being one of the founders of the UAM.
Yes, one of the founding members, yes.
Great. And also, having a lot of contact with Dr. Ben and him being, I believe, the godfather of your sister.
No, Dr. Ben is actually my mother's godfather.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Leonard Jeffries is the godfather of my older sister.
Wow, so you have some
He
big
gave her
names.
away at her wedding in Africa.
You have some big names in your family.
I do, and I'm proud of it.
But how did this become the inspiration for your music and what you're doing today?
I think it's impossible to be around people such as yourself who are keeping the culture alive. It's impossible to be around that and inundated by it and not regurgitate it and not put it out, let it come back out, recycle it. And so that's basically, I think, is what's going on in my life. I'm just regurgitating everything that's been put in, I'm recycling everything that's been put in, and I'm giving it back. What goes in has to come out, and what you're seeing, I think, is a flowering of it, a blossoming of it, and I'm just trying to give it that extra added value so that you want to hold on to whatever it is that I give.
Can I ask, how long does it take you to write the lyrics that you come up with? Because we were listening to the piece that he did, and it was dense. It had a lot. Often when I listen to the radio, they say the same 3 words, and there's actually no content to what they're singing.
You're 100% correct.
And so there's so much content in virtually every sentence that you spoke was important. So how long does it take you to write something like that?
Honestly, it really depends on the process. Sometimes the lyrics just might fall out of the sky, and you know that it's not you writing, which it sounds cliche because almost every artist says that, every prolific artist says that.
Right.
But sometimes you have to struggle for it, and sometimes it's a combination of both. Right. Because some time has passed now since I've written this particular song. I couldn't tell you how long it took me to write it. I was just really glad when it was done and that I had it, and this was something that I had to share with people. And so every song, I'm sure, is going to be different. But I will confess that I often say to myself, okay, I'm trying to do a comedic album. Entitled Comedic Gospel, by the way, just wanted to let you know. That's the title of it when it's complete. But I'm trying to do an album, 15 to 20 songs, and I'm saying, 15 to 20 songs, and each one has to be at least comparable or better to complement the one before and after. And I'm saying to myself, all right, Shaka, how are you going to keep doing this over and over and over again? And I think the only way, it's a good inspiration for studying and staying in the text. So I'm often reading Mary Lichtheim, Ancient Egyptian Literature, Volume 1, 2, and 3. Or I'm reading Van Sertima, Egypt, Child of Africa, or I'm reading Ra'un Nefer Amen, so it's like she'll tell you, my wife will tell you I'll walk down the street reading, in the bathroom reading, in the bed reading, I'm at the computer reading, so it's just constant, everybody's entitled to their drug, that's mine.
And that's normal for you, right?
There's
nothing wrong with reading like that, right? I'm looking at Anita because I do that too. I remember the first time we went away, she beat me up because we were on vacation and I was reading and she was like, we are on a beach and you were reading. And I was like, but you don't even know. It's like, so it's good to hear that we're kindred spirits.
Absolutely.
The subject matter becomes your life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so when you read something, and particularly when you're able to assimilate something that is not always accessible to someone when they read it the first time, there's such a joy that comes. And it sounds like that's what your music is. That's incredible.
That's a pretty good analogy.
Wow. Wow, that's really incredible.
Now, your label is called Ma'at Hotep Records.
Ma'at Hotep Records, yes,
and this
it
is part of the Nile Valley movement, right?
This is part of it's under the Nile Valley movement, NVM. We rep hard. Yes, we do. And yes, it is.
So now tell me more about the Nile Valley movement. What is the movement? Where is it going?
You know something, to be honest, all of these things are just coming as I'm producing this material, because you have to couch things in something else in order to present it to people. When you present food, you have to put it on the plate you have to put on the tray you have to put on the table. So these things are coming. Okay, I have the song. What do I present it as? Oh, okay, under Ma'at Hotep Records. Well, who's responsible for Ma'at Hotep Records? Okay, it's this movement, Nile Valley movement. So it's just coming as I'm writing. So I give thanks to the Netchers, and I say that's where it comes from.
And what do you want people to get out of your music? What message are you trying to give?
You always dream for someone to ask you that question, and when they finally ask it, the succinct answer that you want to give escapes you. But I'm going to put my best foot forward and say that what I really want for people to get, my dream is that and I didn't say some, I said all young black people on this planet, in this world, listen to that song, Egypt Was a Black Land, that all black parents buy that song, download that song for their children, that young black people download it for themselves and get their friends to do the same, and that song is heard everywhere, and that it resounds in the projects, in the streets, in the gas stations, in the dirty South, in the West, on the East Coast, wherever you are, wherever we are. I would like for that to be a rallying cry for our identity and who we are and what produced us.
Wonderful.
That's what I would like from this music. That's what I would like for it to do.
So you have a heavy calling.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, talk about a wall you have to climb.
Yeah.
It's, hey, I like Jeezy too, like everybody else, but, that's kind of like what I'm up against. There's that one thing that's calling them, and I'm trying to say, hey, over here, at least I'm an option. At the very least, at the moment, I'm an option. The music is an option.
Alternative.
Right, they have that alternative. But to have no alternative, I think is unfair.
That's right.
And we're unfair to ourselves in not providing that alternative. Like you guys are providing an alternative. Somebody might not want to watch Hugh Downs or somebody else. They might want to watch Comedic Legacy and
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I feel that. I really do. And clearly, you are moving forward with such emotion and such drive that it's infectious.
Wonderful.
I mean, has anyone told
Wonderful.
you that? Yeah, I would be surprised that there won't be a lot of people in a very short period listening.
I'm hoping so, because and I will tell you this much. Man, I'm sacrificing a lot to do this.
I can
but
imagine.
I do it gladly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do anything else. The sleep that I lose, the people that look at me sideways because I might have to walk in the street like this. Like when we filmed that video, there's a music video for Egypt Was a Black Land, and I highly recommend that you see it. It's on YouTube, Egypt Was a Black Land, Ma'at Hotep Records. And I highly recommend that you see it because getting it done was an unbelievable thing. And it's something that I think people should know about. Would you like to hear
Sure,
about it
of course.
briefly?
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
May I address the Queen?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I know where I gotta go.
I'm much more exactly. I'm much more comfortable not having the Queen to my back, and I'm sure you would raise your soldiers that way.
That's right.
So absolutely.
That's right.
My wife and I decided to. My wife Kanefera, who you will see in the music video "May Our Love Shine." Without her, I would be a mess, and none of this would be possible. And I mean that literally, none of it.
Wow.
We decided that the song deserved to be shot in a place other than our own personal studio. And so, being that we live not too far from the Metropolitan Museum of Art,
we decided that we were going to shoot in their Egyptian art exhibit.
Oh my goodness.
And so, but we couldn't figure out how to do it because we know that you're not allowed to shoot video in the Met. They'll allow you to take
We know
pictures
that very well.
with no flash.
We have been trying
but they
to
are
shoot
adamant,
in the Met for
no
2
video.
years. That's
Yeah.
They
right.
are adamant, no video. And I think it's because I went in and with this apparel,
That's
with this
right.
wardrobe,
That's right.
they kept continually making references or making comments to Kanefra. They said, yeah, it's your house. Go ahead. Do what you want.
Wow.
But they literally, around us, went to everybody else and said, no video shooting, no video
let you
shooting.
film
and
it.
they just let us do it.
I was
And we
wondering
shot
where that
all day
came
long.
from.
We shot all day long throughout that entire exhibit. And no guard said one thing to us. And they actually enjoyed it. The crowds of people were standing around taking pictures because they couldn't believe that they were seeing what we talk about so much come to life. If you see all of my work is really dedicated to bringing the ancestors back to life.
That's right.
Being their arms, being their limbs, being their mouth.
Wow.
Right? So the documentaries, Ancient Egypt Was a Black Land, Let the Ancestors Speak, part 1 and part 2. You want to see that. It's on YouTube. Trust me, you want to see it.
Right.
Because we made the ancestors literally speak. And when you read the comments underneath it, people are actually asking, was that really the ancestors speaking? And I sometimes laugh about it because
Right.
it's there in the comments when you
Right,
read it.
right.
But I understand the sentiment because
Right.
that's what we strove to do. We wanted them to know that these people who produced the civilization in ancient Egypt were black African people
Yeah.
from the interior of the continent,
That's
from
right.
no place else, without
Right.
any outside
That's right.
influence. And that deserves to be known.
That's right.
It deserves to be presented in a palatable form and fashion with as much professionalism as Quentin Tarantino or whatever major Hollywood producer has at their beck and call. We don't have
right.
those kind of resources,
That's
but
right.
it still shouldn't take the place of talent. But that museum experience was unbelievable.
Wow.
If you see the raw footage and you hear the questions that people are asking as they're walking by and the comments they're making to Kanefra as she's filming, because she's the one that shot it with that camera, that little Bloggy. I'm giving Bloggy a plug. She shot that whole video with that. And her little iPod, her regular little iPod.
I wondered where you got the images
Yeah.
of the temple from. Because
Yeah,
I looked
we
at the
were in
video
the
and I was
Met.
like, was he in Egypt? Did he take pictures of different temples
We
and
were
then
in the
plug it
Metropolitan
into his
Museum.
video?
Yeah, just a few weeks ago.
You just walked in and
Literally.
just filmed
Well,
it?
I didn't walk in like this. I walked in and I went into the bathroom and I changed.
Right.
It took me about 20 minutes. And I walked out, and people were just, if you look at the music video, Egypt Was a Black Land, you can see me walking through the museum, and you can see the reactions from people. They're startled, and they're taken aback, and they just don't know how to respond and react. But they were really very enthusiastic about what we were doing. We had an audience the entire time. Children were really losing their
Right,
minds because
right,
they didn't expect
right.
to go to the museum and actually see a Shechem, a Sarah,
That's
a
right.
Sutin. They didn't
That's right,
expect to
that's
see
right,
one
that's right,
walking
that's right.
around in the flesh.
Right.
But my dream is to walk through, I want to walk through Harlem and see all of us looking like this.
Right.
I want to walk through Bed-Stuy and see all of us. I want to walk through Compton. I want to walk through Georgia. I want to walk through Senegal, Mali, Australia. I want to walk anywhere where we are
That's right.
and see us looking
That's
like
right.
this. And I'll tell you how to do it real fast. Go buy yourself a dashiki, grab some cloth, throw it around your head, grab whatever symbol means something to you. To me, the black woman is everything. That's God, so that's what's in the middle of my head. That's my mama. Your
That's
mama,
right.
your mama.
That's right.
And so, and that's what I would like to see.
Wow.
That's what I would like to see.
That's
yeah.
powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you to the Queen for,
Oh, my
absolutely.
lending a
Dua
hand in all of
Incredible.
this.
Absolutely.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And we should also let you know, Anika's going to kill me because I'm always promising things. But when I hear the passion of a fellow Camite, there's no way for us not to work together.
Oh, without
so
question.
next time we will film with you too.
Oh, yeah.
That's no.
Yeah.
That's a
Okay.
Yeah.
given. Please.
I'm okay
So
with that.
I need help.
Okay,
Anybody who
okay.
wants to link up with Mott Hotep Records,
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. You could be an established label, Bad
That's
Boy,
right.
Death Row.
That's
Oh no,
right.
you're not there anymore. Bad Boy, Aftermath, whoever you are. If you want to hook up with Mott Hotep Records and help us get this message out
That's
here,
right.
Mm-hmm.
then help us, please, by all means.
This is
If we-
our message.
That's it.
This
It's
is
our,
our
exactly.
Right.
Nile Valley Movement. Although I'm a founding member, it's not my movement.
Right.
It's our movement. It's yours, it's yours, and it's yours. And I tell everybody that if it fails because you let it fail, not because I let it fail.
Right.
I'm doing what I can as a founding member
That's
to
right.
inspire and show the way and say, look, you can do
That's
this.
right.
You can entertain. You can get your message out. It can inspire you to stay in shape or do whatever it is because you're going to be in front of the camera and people are watching.
Right.
But the bottom line is the message because they're not going to get it in the schools.
Not
The
at all.
schools are there. Let's be frank. on this is, comedic legacy. Let's be
That's
frank.
right. That's right. That's right.
We are the only people who send our children to be educated by
By
our
other
historical oppressors.
That's
Let's
right.
be succinct. We are the only people that do that, and that is
Wow.
psychotic behavior. And it's time to break that
Wow.
mold.
That's right.
And so, if at the very least, download the song. I'm sure how many black households have a Bible in the house? Well, put this song next to it, so so you can at least know.
Wow.
Put things in perspective. That's all we're trying to do.
I must feel like saying, we've never
know?
met before. I mean, you know what I mean? I feel like someone I know already.
I
You
know.
I've been
I know.
preparing to meet you.
Wow.
For a lot of people.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Incredible. Incredible.
Absolutely.
Incredible. We are really, really passionate about what you're doing. And I
Wonderful.
know that when Anika said she didn't even, and I think this was intentional, when I first saw your video, she didn't tell me what it was. And I was busy. I was like, what are you showing me? I'm editing. She said, just look at this. And I was a little miffed that she was interrupting what I was doing.
Tell me about
and
it.
when I saw it, as she is able to do, then I understood what she was trying to communicate. And I said, what was that? now what I'm doing, I forgot what I was doing, because I'm like, now I need to know
Wonderful.
what is she showing me, because that was incredible.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And so your passion comes across, your commitment to our people and to the reclamation of our name
That's
comes
right.
across.
That's
what
right.
it's all about.
And so, I am pleased. There's so many things that she's put before me. And I sometimes come kicking and screaming, and I realize how important it is.
They all do it. Trust me when I tell you.
Yeah.
We've got one to grow on.
Man.
That's why they are who they are, and that's
so,
why we are who we are.
I'm excited that she did that, because even just not only just seeing your music video, but hearing the lyrics and then speaking to you, it's clear that we're on the same path. And so when individuals like ourselves, the folks that are the others,
Yeah.
we walk with our ankh. We just received our ankh.
I'm jealous. I don't
Being
have one.
priests and
That's all
priestesses.
right.
You're on your way already.
You're on the path.
You're on your way already. But as we walk with our ankh, I know that people look at me with the strangest looks.
Wonderful.
And I realize that that's the path that I was called to, but I'm really hoping that there will be a day when this is no longer unusual.
But as long
don't
as you're
have to feel like
in
the
this
other.
part of the world, you know what? It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to
you
say
know?
that it will be, but it shouldn't be.
No.
We're the leaders. Let everyone else follow,
That's
and they'll
right.
grab their arms later.
That's right.
We
That's right.
started rock and roll. Now they do rock and roll. We started
That's
rap
right.
music. Now
That's
they do
right.
rap
That's
music.
right.
We started
That's right.
jazz. Now they do jazz. Trust me, you're going to see people in neighborhoods other than our own wearing
Right.
ankhs and nemesis. They did it in
Yeah.
ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
They did it in ancient
Yeah.
Kemet.
Yeah.
The Ptolemaic period. That's
right.
us.
That's
That's
right.
them doing us.
Doing
Yes.
us.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
That's
the
a particular-
spinoff. The
Yeah, that's a
spinoff.
spinoff.
That's right.
That's a spinoff. I'm going to use that.
That's right.
From now
That's a
on.
spinoff.
That's a spinoff.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
my other dream, by the way. I'd like to get a group of black youth in a classroom. I used to lecture in high schools and universities at the behest of people who asked me to do so.
Right.
And the experience was always sublime for everyone else who participated. I mean, they actually would shove like 3 and 4 classes for 7 periods straight, and I'd be exhausted by the time I left.
Right.
But my dream now is to teach a course to young black people, and even some adults, because very few adults know the actual history of slavery and black people, and many don't know that it actually didn't begin in America, it began in ancient Egypt under the Ptolemaic period. That was the first time that black people, other than the Hyksos period, but that was the first time that there was real slavery taking place in Egypt. And a good book to reference that would be The General History of Africa that was put out by UNESCO, which features the chapter written by Shakka Ahmose.
That's right.
That's something I would love to do a long discourse on one
Wow.
because very
Wow.
few people know about it.
Center for the Restoration of Art.
That's
Our
right.
classes are beginning in the fall, and we have no intention that they'll only be taught by us. And so we need to work together to make sure
Absolutely.
that comes into fruition.
Absolutely, I highly recommend it.
Wow.
Yeah, it
Wow.
would change a lot of people's perspectives about a lot of things.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think it's important for us to put our lives and our legacy in context, and that's what you're really talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah. That refining your vision is
Right.
everything.
Right.
You know,
Right.
because what you see, it tells you what you have to work with.
Right.
And if you're looking at it wrong, then it's going to limit your ability to create, and your whole power is just going to limit you. So that's what it's all about: refining and refining and refining, so that you so that you know what you see and recognize what you see and know what you hear, know what you see and recognize. Mr. Belt Middleton, his poem on the origin of things. It's a beautiful poem, and I love it.
It feels like we've been sitting with this guy for a long time.
I know. You're
You have
quoting
been.
passages that a good friend of ours,
You
Shaka
have been.
also quotes.
Wow.
So I'm sitting here like, wow, this is
Absolutely.
incredible.
Wow.
It's one spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only one. There's only one.
Yeah. But it's always amazing when you
Absolutely.
meet someone that, and there have been a few people we've been lucky enough to meet along our journey, and we begin to
There'll be
realize
many
that
more.
they're family,
Yeah.
That's
and
right.
they're family already.
Yeah.
And it's surprising sometimes.
Yeah.
To just meet someone that's already family, and so we feel that way about you, and we want to thank you.
And I don't want to shake your hand because that's not our custom.
That's all right. That's all right.
If you want, we can do the wrist thing. We have to
I'm
begin to do
gonna
things
love this
our
thing.
way.
I know.
You
We have
know?
to introduce you to our
Our way.
priest.
Absolutely.
Oh, by all means.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
By all means.
So with that, talk to us about what's up next.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shaka.
wow.
Yes.
You just opened up the can. I should actually control my demeanor more in this attire because of what I'm representing. But we've completed some songs that are just so, to me, I wrote them and recorded them, but even to me, they're unbelievable.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out, how can I possibly capture this on video? Because it's almost impossible.
Right.
After I did Egypt Was a Black Land, which is something I didn't expect to come off as successful as it did, shooting in the museum and
Right.
not being stopped. By the way, we're coming for the Brooklyn Museum next. Just letting you know. Just letting you know. So anybody that can hook that up, hit a brother up.
I think we can hook
That's what's up. So that way we don't have to be looking over our shoulders.
Right.
There's a song called God Ra that's dedicated to Dr. Ben, who I spend at least 3 to 4 times at the week in his home.
Right.
I juice for him a lot. I bring my iMac computer over to his home so he can
Wow.
actually see the love, because he has a lot of love online, but he
Yeah.
never gets to see it, and
Right.
I wanted him to see it. So I show him his fan clubs. Sometimes I'll help him to interact with people online.
Wow.
And things of that nature.
That's definitely
But
noble.
This song, God Ra, is absolutely incredible. And then there's another song called Mott Hotep. And there's a slew of songs that are just being stacked on top of each other, all for this album. Comedic Legacy, Volume 1. I don't know why I'm calling it Volume 1, because there's only going to be one album. Because,
Right.
I want people to realize how valuable something like this is, and for them not to take it for granted. Because if it wasn't, you would have had a song like that floating around yesterday.
That's right.
You
Yeah.
would have had videos like that floating around yesterday, and we
Right.
did not.
Right.
And so, because of that, it's like the Black Books Revolution. People think that you can always walk down the street and buy a copy of Africa, the Mother of Western Civilization, or Black Man of the Nile and His Family. They think you can always buy a copy of Destruction of Black Civilization. I dare you to go and try and buy any of these
That's
books
right.
today.
I know.
It's that difficult.
It's just been a few years, and now they've almost been wiped away.
Absolutely. And
You gotta
sometimes
find
it's by
Brother
design.
Sekou.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my family.
Yeah. Say
That's
cool.
family. I'm with
that's
him
right.
almost every day. That's family.
Wow.
Good.
Wow.
Absolutely. He's actually I'm putting together a council of elders for Nile Valley Movement, because I don't want people to think that this is all me.
Right.
I mean, I was the inspiration for it
Right.
and the founder, but I'm not dumb enough to think that I can rely on my own wisdom.
Right.
That's not wisdom.
That's right.
So I'm putting together a council of elders to help structure and guide Nile Valley movement so that it's something of substance and that it, like I said, building for an eternity. This is not
Right.
something that we're doing for a week or a month.
Right.
The UAM should still be here. ASCAC is not what it once was. And so I guess maybe that's why we have to continually reinvent and recreate. It's what we did back in Kemet. We constantly reinvented and recreated, but we always reached back in the past to do it.
Right.
Source.
Right.
To the source.
Right.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So, Sekou happens to be on that council.
Wow.
And I'd love to get Adelaide Sanford.
Right.
I'd love to get Dr. J, who's back and forth in Ghana.
Yeah.
Dr. Jeffries has his hotel in Ghana, and we need to plug him. If you're going to Ghana, check out Dr. Jeffries and
Right.
Dr. Leonard Jeffries and Professor Smalls, their hotel. I think it's in Kumasi or someplace in Ghana.
He was just
Check
on
it
the
Yeah,
out.
he
show
was just
2
on
weeks
our
ago.
show, huh?
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
wonderful.
I want to see us all prosper.
Wow.
we deserve
wow.
it.
That's right.
So tell us how we can reach you.
Yeah.
How
Okay.
do folks reach you now?
I tell everybody the same thing. I'm putting it on the posters. We're trying to put posters up everywhere. The most important thing anybody can help us really with is marketing and promoting, because that's
Right.
the one power that the power structure has over us that we don't have. If you build a mousetrap and somebody else builds a better one, but your old one, you have a larger network and you can get your message out there, that's the one that's going to sell. That's the one that's
Right.
going to be more successful. So what we really need, and I'm going to answer your question, is We need people to repost these videos, repost until you can't repost anymore, and just help us market and promote and let people know it's there. So
Trying
it
to go
has
viral
wings.
in many ways.
Viral in
Yeah.
every way, not in many ways, in every
Right.
way.
Yeah.
But they can contact us. Google us, Mott Hotep Records, MAAT. Mott Hotep, HOTEP
Right.
Records. You know, Mott Hotep Records, Nile Valley Movement, Shaka, SHAKKA, Amos, AHMOSE.
That's right.
And, you know, just Google us. You know, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on MySpace, and we're on Twitter. And our own personal website, NileValleyMovement.com, is in the process of being put together as we speak.
Great.
So one way or another, you can't miss us. Or just Google Egypt was a black land, Mott Hotep Records.
And it's there.
It's there.
And it's there,
Absolutely.
right.
It's there. You can't. Our presence is there.
That's right.
You know, and we're just trying to, you know, solidify that presence, so that a Warner Brothers or a Universal Music can't come along because believe me, they're gonna fight us.
And in a minute.
In every way you
In
can
a minute.
imagine, they're gonna
In a
fight
minute.
us.
In a minute.
You
You
know?
may even be surprised. You may even be on the radar. You know,
Oh, I
you may
already
be
know
surprised.
that.
Already, they're
I already
like,
know that.
just watch this for a little bit and see where it goes.
Yeah. Oh
You know,
yeah.
because
absolutely.
clearly they have individuals that are looking at what's going on in the culture.
That's what they
to be
do.
able to inspire.
That's right.
Yeah, they
what
have
they
whole
do.
offices for that.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. That's
right.
And so, you know, that's what they'll do. That's what they'll do.
Yeah, so I'm a marked man. For the most part. You know what the Beninsky papers said? They're always on the lookout to watch out for that next Messiah.
That's right.
You know, and hey, I'm not trying to be a Messiah, just to let you know.
Right.
I'm just here to represent what is best in us, our birthright, our legacy, and what we did and what we are entitled to be recognized for and acknowledged for. You know, we don't want to just be recognized for Fat Albert and God knows, even the Huxtables.
Oh, too wild.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, the
Absolutely.
Huxtables were so assimilated that to me, it really didn't do us, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the justice it could have done.
Right.
So, you know, relinquish the shame of who and what we were. Walk down the street. If you say you were the ancient Kemetic people, then start looking like it. Start talking like it. And start acting like it.
I like it.
Throw a nemes on your head. You know,
like
my wife said to me the other day, she said, people can say what they want about those Hebrew Israelites, but at least they walk their walk and,
That's
they
right.
talk.
That's
So
right.
so where are you at, Kemet? That's my
right.
question. Where
Wow.
you at? You know, I'll hook you
gonna
up.
love it.
Contact me. I'll hook you up.
Wow.
I am
wow.
You know?
Well, I'm
so
sure you've
blessed to
enjoyed this this evening focusing on this incredible artist as much as we have. So we have to definitely say to you, he's told you how to contact him. You have to reach out to him.
That's right.
Because one of the things that happens is that we have artists that are doing important, incredible things, and it isn't until they have trouble doing what they do that you look to help them.
That's right.
Keep him strong. I know he's sacrificing to do this, folks. Keep him strong. Be with him. Watch the video and just tell him how you feel.
That's right.
That helps.
That's right, so that he can have the kind of energy to be able to move forward and do the kind of work that our ancestors expect for him to do.
You know what would really help? Download the song.
Wow.
Because every time you download the song, $2 might not be anything to you.
Right.
But $2, if I have 1% of all of the black people on this planet,
Oh,
you don't
boy.
even have to be black.
Right.
You could be white and like the art. You could be Asian or Spanish. If you like what we're doing, I have people contacting me that are not black people that say,
Right.
hey, I really love the art. I
Right.
really love what you're putting out there.
Right.
So if I can get 1% or 2, 3, 4, 5% of the people just to download the song
It would
on
support the
iTunes,
music
Egypt
big
was a
time.
black land.
Big
That's
time.
right.
Yeah,
Support.
Egypt was a black land
Right.
on iTunes or CD Baby.
Right.
If you download it, that means that we can go in the studio and record the next song.
Right.
That's right.
We can, record the next 5 or 10 or 15 songs that
Right.
have to be recorded because
Right.
right now I don't have a clue how they're going to be recorded.
Right.
But they're going to be recorded.
Right.
They
I
will.
guarantee you
Right.
that.
They will.
Right.
I'll sell these diamonds right here. And yes, there is. Not blood.
So with that, folks, we want to thank you for tuning into Comedic Legacy today, as you have every week faithfully. And
and thank you for having me.
oh yes,
It-
thank you.
definitely a pleasure.
Dua.
And you'll be back. I hope
I
you
would
realize
love
that.
to come back. I would so love to come
Uh-huh.
back. Absolutely.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Visit us on Facebook. Let us know how you felt about this episode. Download the song, Egypt is a Black Land. Also go to our website, www.comediclegacy.com. With that,
And with that, as we always say, the divine force in us greets the divine force in you. Hetepu.
Hotep.
Twelve. Thank you.
Hotep.
should know that the Nubians were known as some of the world's best archers. They were the kind of folks that were able to wield the bow with precision, and they also had the ability to sort of, as you've seen in some movies, blot out the sky with arrows. And so when they fought and they shot those arrows into the sky, it was rare that anyone was able to defeat them. So you would try to get to them before they got their archers in place. That's how precise they were with their bowmen. Here you're seeing Nubian archers that actually fought alongside the Kemetic archers during the Middle Kingdom. This is a replica that was found of something that was found in Aysut. But look at these brothers. First of all, I love how they painted their eyes. They look like they have such determination. Keep in mind that they're also wearing the same eye configuration that Kemetic soldiers would have. And that their outfits, while there seem to be these geometrical designs on their short kilts, they are almost exactly the way that Kamites would have depicted themselves. And so we are certainly seeing cultural similarities, and we're also seeing that these brothers here in Nubia were pretty bad, boy, I tell you. Look at them. I think they're absolutely wonderful. Now, I think it's interesting sometimes when I meet folks who are African-centered to their bone, that sometimes they make it seem like everything in the world started in Africa. They'll talk to you, well, you know, I know that the Japanese eat sushi, but you know, brothers and sisters in Africa was eating sushi a long time ago. Rescue me, my brother. And that's kind of how it sounds. And sometimes I realize that I sound like that too. You know why? When I got here, the first time I saw this, I said, okay, is this miscatalogued? What is this? Where is this from? It amazed me to know that this structure could easily have been in the movie Braveheart. It could have easily been in any of the Harry Potter movies you had seen. It could easily have been in any of the Lord of the Ring movies.
Gladiator.
Or that movie Spirit.
When we look at the structure that we usually consider the castle or the fortress to be, this is how we usually envision European castles. There's this whole genre of films that are connected to the use of these wonderful monuments. And we actually usually believe that the fortress is a European thing, that the castle is a European thing. Now, what if I told you, brothers and sisters, that the castle comes from Africa? Sometimes I sound like those African-centric cats too. But I'm telling you, I'm amazed to see that this was built at least 2,000 years earlier than anything that looked like it in Europe. You'll note that there are the battlements. Do you see how there are areas for archers to stand? What you're seeing in front of you is a moat. And it even has the raised sections, these towers at the corners and at certain intervals. You even see how this is dug out to create a trench. And so you are seeing that your Kemetic ancestors created these structures long before they were created in Europe. Long before they were created in Europe. And so sometimes I begin to wonder, what exactly did they create on their own? I'm not saying that I don't think they did anything on their own. I just haven't seen it yet. This defiant brother here, standing, is carved absolutely beautifully. I love to see how he's carved. I'm noticing how wonderfully they've carved his usek, or his broad collar. Take a look at his broad collar. Absolutely beautiful. Take a look at the ankh that he's wearing around his neck. The original people wore this symbol very often. Unfortunately, you won't see many people today wear them in the country of Egypt. In addition to that, take a look at his beautiful Kemetic kilt. I don't, well, this one's not the Shendon kilt, but I don't know the name of this particular dress that he's wearing, and I wish I did so I didn't have to use the word kilt. His name is Horemakhet. Horemakhet, and he's the son of Shabaka. Now tell me, what are they trying to say his name is? Horemakhet. So you mean he has the same name as the statue that sits near Cairo? Is there anything significant to that? Keep in mind that this image of the Heru Emma Akhet is the symbol of the divine force in control of the lower portion of your being. Essentially what they're saying is that this man is a divine man. He has been able to overcome those things that keep human beings behind, those urges that force us to do things, that we think force us to do things, that are not divine, that are not in our best interest. And as we think about his name, keep in mind that he was the high priest of Amun. During the 25th dynasty, he's the son of Shabaka. And being the son of Shabaka, one of the most important kings of the 25th dynasty, this also means that he was one of the most powerful people in all of Kemet. At the time that his family was in power, the temples of Amun controlled about 80% of all the fields of Kemet. And so they controlled a large amount of the purse strings of Kemet, of the wealth of Kemet. This man was in control of all of them. I think it's funny that I don't hear his name in history books. The only time I've ever seen him is to look at his image here. You'd figure that with a beautifully carved statue like this, and the fact that he held such a position of authority, there would be more about him. But instead, even this museum subverts his importance. It says here, he was in Thebes during the reign of his father and his two successors. The sculpture is purely Egyptian, except for the features, which are typically Kushite. Now, first of all, they've acknowledged the fact that this brother looks like a Kamite. But then they have the nerve to say that there are some features that are typically Kushite. And they didn't even have the regard to tell you which ones they thought did have the typically Cushitic features. What are they talking about? Now, I've seen this many times. This could look very similar to almost anything that you'd see in Kemet. In fact, if there weren't glyphs on it, I think that they might not even know that he was Cushitic, that he was from Nubia. And so why make that distinction? When we see Mentuhotep, he's certainly depicted as a darker brother. He has a wider nose and bigger lips in his depictions. So why is that typically Nubian? Why is it typically Cushitic? We have to begin to prevent ourselves from saying those sorts of things and prevent people who create museums like this from saying those things as well. We're looking at people who had many, many cultural similarities. They were one and the same with the Kemetic people. Let's move here. Look at this beautiful, beautiful Khepra here. Now, some people will say it's a scarab. Scarab is a Greek name. We would have called it a Khepra. And if you see that it has a sun disk above it, it's definitely a Khepra. You see the sun disk? So this is a Khepra. Khepra is the image of the divine power of the sun once it emerges into light at dawn. Once it comes out of, once it is birthed by the divine woman known as Nut, who is the lady of the heavens. Anika's going to talk a lot about Nut in her lecture, and I think you're going to find it extremely interesting. And so you're seeing a beautiful image of Khepra. In addition to that, understand that the Kamites looked at this particular animal and thought it was extremely divine because it, as Brother Chika told us earlier, laid its eggs in balls of dung. And for those of you who say, what is dung? Dung is doo-doo. It's doo-doo. And it rolls its eggs in this ball of dung in the same direction as the sun. And at the end, this animal, this beetle, comes out of the ball of dung. So they said it almost looked like it was creating itself. And so they considered it the symbol of bringing into being. Khepra means bringer into being. I also think that it's a wonderful analogy for the life that we have to lead. Because you can do divine things, but you gotta take care of your doo-doo first. And so clearly, the Khepra understood that if you didn't take care of it and see that your divine transformation could actually be lying in the doo-doo that you have, in the baggage that you have, in the problems that you have, If you didn't overcome those things, you could not be a divine being. I think that's another reason why they thought that this image was so divine. On my left, you'll see a beautifully carved image of As and Heru. And this image, you'll note, is very similar to the Christian image that is later called the Madonna and Child.
You mean Mary and Jesus?
Mary and Jesus, right. The Madonna and Child is Mary and Jesus. This image comes out of Kemet and is taken by Christianity. And I think you should keep in mind that Christianity, Judaism, and Islam have a lot that they've borrowed from Kemet. Kemet comes forth in first, and it births those other traditions. And so when we see images like this, we understand that even its iconography, the iconography of these three major faiths, actually come from Kemet as well. Now, I think it's very interesting that in Europe, you'll see many images that they call the Black Madonna and Child. You'll see an African Mary and an African Jesus. And I think they are recognizing when they created those statues, they understood that the origin of their faith came from Africa, and so they thought they were beautiful. Those images are generally considered miracle workers, and people make long pilgrimages to ask divine things of these people, of these images, of these statues of the Madonna and Child. And I think that they're very, very beautiful. Just take a look at the care that she has placed on Heru, on her lap. Absolutely beautiful. You're looking here, whenever you see women depicted this way, you're usually seeing a woman that held a very important post in Kemet. Her name here is Ankh Nes Nefer Iribre. Now, this is how they depicted her name. Ankh obviously means life. Nefer means, does anyone know? Like in Nefertiti or Nefertari? Beauty, wonderful students, wonderful, wonderful. Ib here is the same as Ab. Does anyone know what the Ab is? The Ab is the heart. And Re is the same as Ra. So they're saying, as we translate her name, that her life is in the beautiful creation of Ra. Beautiful, beautiful name. She is one of the final adoratresses of Amun. I told you about the high priest of Amun, right? And during a certain period in time, that position, that very powerful position, was taken over by women. And these women we call the divine adoratresses of Amun. They had control of all of the wealth of the largest temples in Kemet. And so it's a very, very, very powerful position. One of the first things that these Nubian kings do when they come north and into Kemet is they assign their sister as a divine adoratress of Amun. They look at the current one and they say, you should adopt her as your daughter, so that they were able to continue. I think it's very interesting, though, that even after the Nubians left Kemet, and they were defeated later by the Persian Assyrian assemblage, this particular sister stayed along and was still in those temples in the 26th dynasty, which is after the Nubian period. And so the Nubians, we don't usually talk about this in history books. The Nubians' presence was always felt throughout all of Kemetic history, and it continued to be felt after the Nubian kings left Kemet. Look at this beautiful statue of this woman. Now, normally they say that she's wearing a Nubian wig. Now, if they know she's a Nubian, do they still say that? I think that's a little interesting. They don't even mention it here at all. But look at her beautifully done hair. I know that just a few years ago, a very similar hairstyle was popular in the States, where sisters had braids that were layered. And so I think that that's an absolutely beautiful depiction of a divine African woman. Note how slightly she steps forward with her left leg. It's almost very dainty. And she holds this beautiful scepter of royalty that we usually only the Nsubiti use them. And they are called the Nekeka. Can you say Nekeka with me? Nekeka. You will see the Nsubit hold both the Heka and Nekeka. But the divine adoratress of Amun was able to hold this as well. Let's move over to a few of the pieces here. Question? Why isn't she holding both? I've only seen the Nsubiti hold both. When I see that women were able to hold this particular one, you know what it makes me think? And this is something that needs more research to be done. And maybe some of you beautiful young scholars may do this research. I believe the Heka may be male and then the Keka may be female. And so I think that we're going to have to do some more research to prove that. Let's move a little further in. Really quickly, can someone tell me what animal you're seeing behind you? Beautiful, beautiful. Give this young man a hand. He said it's a baboon. And you all said a monkey. Yes, it is a monkey, but it's a particular type of monkey. Is there any movie that you saw a baboon being depicted in just a few years ago?
Lion King.
The Lion King. What position did that baboon in that movie play?
He was
A priest, witch doctor, shaman, a person of great spiritual knowledge, right? Once again, this is another way that we know that the Lion King was taken from your Kemetic ancestors. We'll talk more about how we know that story was virtually taken right out of Kemet. It is in Africa. But the baboon, we should know, is known as the wisest animal in Kemet. Now, why do they think that? First off, you should know that this animal is sacred to Tehuti. Say that word with me, Tehuti.
Tehuti.
Wonderful. Some people call this Tehuti Thoth. That's a Greek name. But you should know that the Greek name Thoth is where they got the word thought from. Because this brother was bad. Tehuti is usually depicted as an ibis bird. And the ibis was also sacred to Tehuti because we know it was so wise that when it ate in the areas of the Hapi that were filled with gravel, it knew that it got gravel in its system. And as it got gravel in its system, it would become constipated. And so do you know what it did when it became constipated? It would take some water in its long beak, turn all the way around, almost like the Sankofa bird, and use its beak to give itself a natural enema. The Kemites believed that its ability to cleanse itself was sacred and wise. And so this ibis bird